Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I hate Bafarit. Next time, I don't want to be in the same section with Bafarit. Because that's what I told Pavira said that he
But I love you.
You should be very low. So, everyone, thank you for being here with me. I'm not sure what I can share with you, but this is only what I did in my class before. I hope you get something new. If not, blame Pak Shekpe. He will always take the bullets for me.
So sweet.
Knight in shining armor.
Yes. Without the white horse, Bujil.
Of course.
Okay, so what I'm going to share is a class that I taught almost every even semester. It is titled Introduction to Literature. So this is totally different from what the previous gentleman had shared with us. I was so confused what those graphs all about, yeah. And then the physics, the biology. I love the bunnies anyway. And when I saw the physics about the apa tuh?
Curve?
Apa sih trajectory ya? Trajectory. I remember
You failed those
a
classes.
soccer game. Tony Cruz.
Oh,
My favorite. He could, from the corner spot.
On the corner.
He took the corner kick directly to the goal. Wow! So when you showed me that, that's what I remembered. I think if I were a teacher of physics, I would use it as an example. And then all my students would be so confused.
He did PET simulation before.
Yeah, fat. Wonderful. Real experience, yeah. But then again, yeah. How are you, Pa? I would use Tony Cruz. So biased. Yeah. Okay. So again, this is not going to be something new in terms of methods. So in this subject, so these are the focus. Students in my class discuss short stories, poetry, creative non-fictions. I didn't have time for plays and novels. Yeah. So the biggest challenge for me in this class is always time limitation, because apparently it is not easy to ask students to read at home or outside of the class. So every time I said, please read this, the next time they came back, they only read like one page on it. So okay, that's why I decided I didn't just cover plays and novels. Okay. And unlike what Farid has presented very meticulously, I did not put the PLOs. But when I saw the oh my goodness, he was so meticulous. It was really great, Pa. I mean, maybe next time, maybe I will try to reach the bar, maybe. So this is because this is only 101, literature 101. This is very basic. This is only introduction. So in terms of the Bloom's taxonomy, I wouldn't go to the analytical that far. I tried, but it's not really the focus. So at least they could identify. So it's not really hot, not higher orders, not entirely higher orders. It's only mostly lower order thinking. So they have to identify first who are the characters, why they did something, why they didn't do something. So because eventually it was also too demanding for some of them. Okay.
Brownies.
Yeah. So in the educational field, recently this is the trend, something called multimodalities. It is actually related to something called multiliteracies. Actually, I believe all of you have implemented this in your classroom, but maybe you were just not aware of the term. Because from what the presentations of the fellow gentlemen, I saw that most of you use various platforms. You use a classroom discussion, you use some simulations, you use some applications. those are various models that we use, because our students nowadays, they face various literacy. I believe you have heard, we have digital literacy, information literacy, financial literacy, all kinds of literacies. And that's why in the classroom, the experts believe we have to introduce them to multimodality. Yeah? And again, in my class, the challenge is for them to read textbook. And nowadays, when I ask them to read short stories, I chose short stories that I consider short. For some of them, it is still too long. So instead of reading the entire short story, they just went to some platforms that provide summaries of the, not GPT yet, not yet.
Not yet.
Even to understand the short stories, they would go to Spark Notes. So it is the summary, what it is all about. I said okay, but after that, they have to go into a detailed explanation. So I agree. I think it was also Pak Farid, using ChatGPT is okay, but novelties, yes.
Yeah.
At least they have their own opinion, which is, well, I believe we as lecturers, we could tell if something is based on their original opinion or ideas or thought, rather than from GPT. Because if they are in the daily performance, they are not that sophisticated, but suddenly when they can come up with a very good writing, well, I suspect that it is because of the help of ChatGPT or the summary that they read. So I said summary is okay, but you have to add with your own opinion or analysis. So in terms of multimodalities and the principle of active learning, as what the others also use in the class, these are some of the activities that we did in the class. Yeah, so reading books nowadays is so very challenging. Unlike Pak Farid, he could read the entire book.
I was.
Yeah. While you were a student, right, in undergraduate. Our undergraduate students nowadays, it's so difficult to ask them to read the entire short stories, 4 pages, 5 pages, difficult. Yeah. So that's why I asked them. I allowed them to read. So reading is not only for the printed text now, but to read some films, to read some videos, YouTube videos, and in fact, YouTube videos is their favorite. So if I ask them read about characters and characteristics, they would go to YouTube. Short videos. What is characterization? Yeah, okay, all right. But after that, in the class, we could have a deeper discussion, more in-depth analysis. So these are the things, some of the things that I did. And I know there are a lot of applications such as Jamboard, for instance, and Pedagogies, and then Nearpod also, that allow students to have online collaboration. Yeah, but sometimes I prefer these old traditional ways because it allows them to move around. Yeah, in my observation, students nowadays are not very actively moving around. Also my kids, I have kids at home, sedentary lifestyle. They sit on the couch all the time. The only things that move were their fingers and their eyes. So I asked them, okay, we use these traditional ways. I prepared them with this flip chart. You move around, you discuss, you write. Yeah, because even I myself experienced that now my handwriting is getting worse and worse and worse because I do not train it. Yeah, because we always type. So this is what we did, and it was quite fun. At least in my opinion, in the way I saw them. So you see, mind mapping also. I asked them in the classroom to create this manually drawn mind mapping, but after that, I asked them to use the templates and the electronic version, and it was later uploaded to Google Slides. So this is the example, and this is. The students were quite active in this class. I was quite lucky the previous semester. The students were very engaged and they were very enthusiastic. And this is also a good thing for me is the class is not big because mostly they would write essays. And when I have more than 20 students in the class, every time I ask them to write some my weakness that I cannot really ignore typos. It disturbs me. Some students do not even know when to use capital letters, lowercase letters properly. Some students, can you believe that? They are already in university, so there was something wrong in our high school students. Lecturers too. Yeah, so sometimes in the middle of the paragraph they use capital letters. I said, why? This is not a proper name. Yeah, and they don't know when to use comma, when to use full stop, when to use quotation mark. So, I'm not surprised when many students are not happy with me because I want them to at least write properly. Write properly.
Support you.
But I don't know how much I can encourage them, but at least that's what I've been doing all the time in my class. I would say that I would ignore grammar mistakes, minor grammar mistakes, as long as I still can understand what you're trying to say. But I never tolerate typo and misspelling because you simply used to activate this grammar, spelling check. That's what I wonder. I said, you have spelling check here, but you still have a lot of misspelling and typo. Well, actually, typo is always highlighted, right? It is red underlined. If you see the essays, oh my God. Yeah. Not to say the content. First sentence too. Some of them do not even know what a sentence is. They said something like, misalnya, because I love you. Do you understand, Pak Cipe? That's an example, right? Sorry, my bad. You see, something like that. So there is no subject. Suddenly something like that, only a phrase. So you see, college or university students, the first year, the second semester, many of them, they do not know what a correct sentence is, let alone what a paragraph is. Gitu ya Pak ya. That's why every time I check their work, rambutnya lalu lurus. That's susah-susah ngeriting lurus. Okay, alright. So, what I've been doing for several years is using this or making use of the Google site. I really love Google Sites because it really supports the multimodalities. It allows students to be creative and also collaborative work. So this is an example. This is from 2021. So the first page is so-called introduction, what the class is all about. After that, this is the group work. So 2021, I asked them to twist the ending of stories which are already well known. Yeah, for instance, Cinderella. So I asked them, okay, you read the original story, but change that. This is one of the assignments. And I asked them to also provide some recording. Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was a bit of a girl called Cinderella. She was living.
And then there is the reflection for the group, each group. Yeah. What is, now this is very interesting. I checked this, I intentionally gave this, I wanted to know whether they are still familiar with this. This is the story, the folk tale I grew up with. Yeah. To me, it was really embedded in my head not to say no to my parents. Because mothers can put a curse to you. What kind of mother would curse their children? Okay, anyway, that's the discussion in the class. Some of them were not familiar with this. And we also had some foreign students. So they didn't know, what am I gonna, I said browse. And it was something culturally different. So they were amazed this story existed. Yeah. When I took my master's degree long time ago in UI, one of the lecturers told me that we could learn about a culture, a society's values and philosophy based on the folktales that they have. And this lecturer said, in Netherlands, they have the story of a boy who could jump very far from one continent to the others. And she said, at the time I didn't understand why she told me that, but then she asked us to think, what about the folk tales that we have? Then I realized we have a lot of stories about ghosts, right?
Yes.
We have kuntilanak, we have bolong, we have yeah, and then we have this malingkunak. So it reflects our culture, it reflects our society. In those Western countries, they don't have this. Yeah, but no malingkundang. So this is a point of discussion that was quite, I think I would say, interesting. Yeah. So I asked them also to change the end, to twist it. Yeah. And it's very interesting to read, and also very interesting to listen. I asked them to create the dialogue.
Once upon a time, in a small village in the coast of Sumatra, there lived a widow with her son, Malin Kunda. The father of the family left home to earn a living in the foreign when Malin was a baby, but he never returned. Since then, the mother had to work.
See, men, when you are success, you never return.
That's why I don't like men.
Very valid. He doesn't like men. But you know what? I also use this kind of things as a point of discussion for gender awareness, gender stereotyping, and equality. Where equal are we? To avoid fighting or quarrels. Just a little bit more. So I like this. The mother, how the mother responds this.
Hard and make a living for the two of them. When he grew up, Malin Kundang decided to follow his father's step to sail and wander to other countries due to their family's economic condition.
Mother, I'm grown up now. Let me sail on a ship so I can make a better living for us.
You don't need to do that, Malin. Please, don't go. I am fine living the way we are now.
Oh, I am fine with the way we are now. Then we could discuss again, really? How important is some material wealth? How important is money? And then, oh, okay. At the beginning of a relationship, usually, I'm okay with whatever you are. In the first and third year of a marriage, I'm okay, darling. As long as we're together. That's exactly what we discussed in the classroom. Yeah? So I chose some stories that could provoke some critical thinking. Hopefully students did not only take the fun side of it. Yeah. But usually at the beginning, I always make a disclaimer that you must not always believe what I say. I said because everyone is biased, because everyone has their own agenda. But then they forget. Our students mostly, they just follow whatever the teacher or lecturer say. They would always consider it as the correct one. Even though I said, argue me because I'm not always correct. I'm just another human. I make mistakes. But no. I said, we can have a debate because by having debate, it means you read. No. They would only wait for for my final words. Yeah. So that's the example from the 2021, and this is the latest one from 2023. So also I changed this time. I didn't ask them to twist a story, but they have to explain it using some video. Yeah, and this is some theory, some conceptual theory, the differences of this and that. And I always ask them to write reflection. Yeah, so this is something like that. They're very nice, very fun to watch. Yeah, so this is the reflection after I taught this. So what works, how it works, and what's next. For me, it has always been a classic dilemma in my classes like this between presentation skills and in-depth analysis. Apparently, I cannot have them equally on the same level. One has to be sacrificed. I mean, even though this is 101, maybe because it is 101, and maybe because they are only first-year students, it's too demanding for them to be able to go deeper. Yeah. So mostly it's only identification: who, why, what happens. But when they have to make a presentation, it's very good, as you could see. Yeah. So again, creativity and content mastery. Always like that, always like this. So I have always been trying to find ways that could make at least the two of them are equally or balanced in terms of achievement. But it is very difficult. And again, because the starting point was also quite low. Sentences incorrect, paragraphs incorrect. One paragraph, 2 sentences. Oh my goodness! One paragraph consists of 2 sentences. What can we say?
Yeah.
That must be main idea. Supporting details. I said details with S, so not only one. Suddenly capital letter.
Painful masih kerasa.
Yeah. At the end of the paragraph or a sentence, they don't put full stop. So you see, punctuation are forgotten, long forgotten. Yeah. So creative, yes. Fun learning, yes. Especially when we talk about relationship, we talk about parents, children, conflicts, and tutor. But here, number 3, especially this also happens in composition 2, because composition 2 is the continuation of this. So if I am allowed, I would also ask for all of the HOD to encourage students to take introduction to literature first, if possible, before they take compo 2. Because so far we have it parallel, yeah, introduction to literature and compo 2. Well, actually compo 2 is deeper than introduction 101, but it is not always possible. I learned from because of so many constraints in our curriculum, it's not always possible. It's not possible even for students to take introduction 101 first before compo 2, because compo 2 is analyzing a short story. Here, this is only introduction. So now regarding YouTube videos, I'm now starting a research. I want to know why students, it is quite obvious, but still I want to know why they prefer YouTube, and then what did they experience reading textbook and reading YouTube videos. Because again, most of the time they would prefer to go to the short videos rather than reading one chapter from a book. So these are things to do. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Bu Vera, thank you very much. This is very inspiring. First, I said I love you, but the teacher will say love too. Bu Vera, about the Bloom taxonomy and using the ChatGPT, I think we have to distinguish when it's actually appropriate using ChatGPT. In my case, because I'm working with the higher Bloom taxonomy, I expect them to have novelty and originality. That's the creation
Right.
justification. So when I'm dealing with a class with the lower one,
Yeah.
ChatGPT is prohibitable.
Oh, okay.
Because remembering, understanding, you don't let the AI dictate you.
Yes.
So that's one I agree with you. I think this is something that we need to find a way.
Yeah.
The strategy, maybe we actually can lead this, how we can implement this AI things into our teaching.
Right.
The second one is Vera said about one skill need to be sacrificed, presentation or writing. For us as a user in the Prodi, is that again presentation skill can be presenting in the writing or in the oral. So both are okay depending on the student. So I'm okay with that. If a student good at presentation, sometimes they don't good, they don't write well.
Yeah.
But at least the minimum, like capital letters, main paragraph, one paragraph have main sentence and supporting sentences. Those are the minimum skill that I think very useful. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Let me respond to that. ChatGPT, I cannot make sure that they do not use that. So I cannot say you cannot use that. Of course, I don't say you can use that, but well, okay. At least maybe they use that outside of the classroom. It is so uncontrollable. It's beyond my control. But then again, yes, I always expect them to have their original thought. And number two, it's not presentation skill and between writing and verbal presentation, but it's about content mastery, Pak. So one is the quality of presentation is good, but when they do have, when they have to analyze something, it's really difficult.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So content mastery and presentation skills.
And presentation.
Yeah. So they can present very well because basically most of them they have very good English, but it's daily speaking English, not academic English. No. Because in fact when they write, they use a lot of idioms, they use a lot of collocation, they use a lot of very casual words. It's a very difficult thing when I have to check them one by one. For the love, I accept that, but I have a big